another live stream.
Yay!
Movie Couple Live. I'm Wendy.
I'm Dustin.
And thank you guys so much for joining us. Sorry for running a little late. There was a little bit of scramble. But we hope that you guys are doing well. So I got to pull up my notes because I feel like my brain is just not functioning right. But let's go ahead and catch up on what we have been doing lately. And just to give you guys a quick rundown of what the latest things that have gone up on our channel. I think the last we talked to you guys was a Pom Poko review that you guys probably have already seen. We also have Waking Sleeping Beauty, the Disney documentary.
Which was an amazing documentary.
So good. That review is up. If you were wondering if that's a documentary you should check out, go ahead and check out a review. But we can tell you right now, we'll just shortcut you. It's absolutely great. If you're a Disney fan, if you haven't checked it out already, go ahead and do so. You will not regret it. It's focuses on kind of the Disney Renaissance. When they started to make The Little Mermaid, and then after that it was hit after hit. It was Beauty and the Beast, The Lion King, Aladdin, not in that order. So we have that. We also have a retro trailer review, and what was it, Spaceballs? No.
Yeah, Spaceballs.
Spaceballs, yeah. So that was up on Thursday, and then what did we put up on Friday? Oh, What We Do in the Shadows, and that episode was all about witches.
That was a really fun episode, I have to admit.
Yeah.
I love it when they start bringing in more and more of the supernatural like monsters or supernatural characters into the world, because the more and more you just build this world, the more and more fun it is to play in it.
Yeah. It's really, really fantastic. And of course, I am trying to put more hours into Animal Crossing. I've now gone into the rabbit hole of breeding flowers, which is a whole thing, because there's like a
trying to get that blue flower.
Trying to get the very rare, very hard to get blue rose. And there's a whole people have made countless videos on how to crossbreed certain colors flowers to get certain hybrids. And my brain just went, I'm like, what is this? Yeah, it exploded. So thank you guys so much for joining us. If you feel like watching those, if you haven't subscribed to our channel already, let's go ahead and put this up so you guys can see where you can follow us. That's on all social media. And of course, if you're watching here on YouTube, please subscribe if you haven't yet. And I'm seeing some of the comments. So today, let me just put that on pause. I have 50 million thoughts racing through my head all the time. It's exhausting. But we are going to do a little bit lighter of a show today. There's not too much, what is that called?
No big movie news, big entertainment news.
Yes.
I think probably they're all going to kind of start coming out probably around the mid-June, because that is one of the topics that we're going to be talking about today, is the fact that the state of California will be allowing productions to go back into production.
All the actors and producers and actresses are like,
let us go back to work, kind of thing. But so that's probably when we'll start getting more news, and once they kind of get the wheels going on that and seeing how much production they're able to do, we're going to probably be getting just a lot more information.
Exactly.
And more movie news.
Which
is what we've all been craving, besides the basic movie news of oh, this has been postponed. Oh, this has been pushed back.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to wait until this. So hopefully we'll start getting some more release dates.
Absolutely. And I'm also going through the comments, because we're also going to do a little bit of AMA today in between all the topics that we have chosen. And we'll get to Madlibs at the end, which is something we haven't done in forever. So we will be doing that today. So get your brain geared up for those.
Your adjectives and adverbs and nouns, plurals, and all that fun stuff.
A basic English lesson. And let me see if I'm missing any of the comments. We have a super chat from Chris. Chris and I, we've been virtually hanging out all morning already, because I'm also going live on this streaming app called Livit, Livit.
For all of you at Livit.
For all of you on Livit, thank you so much. And Chris has been kind of checking it out and getting a lot of behind the scenes stuff because like he literally sees me like put on my makeup. I'm like, I'm getting ready for the show.
And that's the thing, that if you want to see more like what we do right before our streams goes up, check out Wendy on Live It, because she's there talking about how we're putting stuff together. And and that's why we're usually a little bit behind.
Yeah,
because we're kind of like trying to juggle pre-production with getting this up and running at the same time.
Hi everybody on Live It who's watching. So yeah, that's what I usually tend to do before like live stream shows, to give everybody a little bit behind the scenes look. And the super chat from Chris today is, I'm leaning forward because I don't have my glasses on. I don't know where they went, so I'm like trying to squint to see. Chris says, I know you two are strong with the 4s.
Yes, we are.
But how strong is your pin game? Oh, well, Chris. Wait. We gotta finish reading his whole comment. You can't just leave. I love buying pins when I go to Disneyland, especially the special editions. Dustin's going to pop off screen real quick.
Let's see if I can get my board down.
And
I have a pin board.
So
I think it's, is it like permanent?
They can't hear you when you're all the way over there.
Sorry.
So,
oh, yes, good. I screwed it on and didn't, oh, crap, I broke it.
Great.
So this is my board. This is just like my pins that I have. And these aren't even all of my pins. These are just the ones that I like to display. I've got a lot of the Star Wars
These are old.
ones.
Look how old these are. Here, go a little bit closer and tilt down so they don't get the glare. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to get it without.
So
but
these
there
ones,
you go. Oh, these are the ones that I got when I built a lightsaber. It's over this way. It's reversed. And these are all my Star Wars ones. But I've got all my Stitch ones on this side. I love Stitch. I think Stitch is like one of the best ones to collect.
Yeah.
And down here, I've got like my Haunted Mansion ones and my Pirate ones down here in the corner. So, and then I got like just some generic ones. These are just the ones that I really, really like. I still have like some in like a generic bag, and those are the ones that I take with me to Disneyland so I can trade them out. And then this doesn't include all of Wendy's pins.
I don't know where they are, so I can't even pull them out because I have some special edition ones that I know cast member gets. Like there's a store, and some of you can go and they're specific for cast members, like very limited edition. So we have I've been gifted by, I don't know if he's in here today, by my friend Adam. For my birthday, he's gifted me a couple of like very special pins, the name ones that I love, and they're like little mystery ones. I was so happy because I didn't even know
so cool.
That was a thing. So we used to be pretty like obsessive, and we had the little pin lanyard, and we used to go to the theme park and like hunt down pins, but we never really got aggressive like some of the pin traders out there. There are a few I would say they're just like older in age as well. I don't know if that has to do with anything, but they would get really aggressive, especially with kids who wants to trade. Like instead of telling them just like hey, sorry, no, that's actually not really what I'm looking for. And then maybe trading them for like a lesser pin when they're small kids who don't really understand. Like some people take the pin trading very seriously. Yeah. And they get like mean, like they're like, oh yeah, if you want this pin, you have to go to the store and get me this box.
And get 2 boxes. Yeah. And I'll give you this pin for 2 boxes.
And I was like, and I heard that the cast members started to crack down on something like that. Because for an adult, you can kind of like make that decision because you're aware of what is happening in this like trade and whatever. Like if you want it, you have the means to buy it, then you can. But like for the kids who don't know and like they're blowing their weekly, monthly allowance because they really wanted that pin, I just don't feel like that's really ethical. So I think they've really kind of cracked down on the pin trading in that aspect.
If I'm not mistaken, you're actually not allowed to do guest to guest pin trading in the park anymore. They do have
what?
You can do the pin trading out like as you get off the tram, there's that little picnic area off to the left.
Right.
That's where all of the pin traders are now. So it's now more difficult for them to say, oh, you want this pin, you have to now go into the park, find a store and get like the boxes. So now they made it more difficult for them to do that to kids.
Yes.
Whereas when they were right next door to, it's right there in Frontierland.
Yeah.
Frontierland. Then it was harder for kids for them to take care of that. And it's just, I just find it to be, that's just so like wrong. Sleazy and
for
just to do that, to take advantage of kids like that. But you know what? Disneyland stepped up and was like, okay, you know what? Let's move all you guys out here. You can still do your pin trading, but you can't do it in the park. Yes. And that makes it a little bit easier to kind of regulate kind of thing.
And if you guys want, if you have, for those of you who do have Live It, maybe afterwards, because I'm going to stay on, I will show you guys some of my very old pin collection. So Chris, whenever we're done here, if you have the time, go ahead and hop back on Live It, and I will show you guys in more detail, our pins, because some of them are still in their boxes, because like Dustin bought me a board to put all my pins in, and then I used it for all my Comic-Con lanyards. Which it's and I look at it now, it's kind of like I don't really want to display that anymore, so I'm gonna end up shifting those and putting in a box. But yes, some of you guys' comments are hilarious. Blade GTR says kids' dreams shatter.
That's kind of what happens. And you know, the whole point of pin trading is to share this passion of Disney and having those Disney pins and I love the fact that they had cast members that would just have a whole bunch of pins that you can trade one for one no matter what they are.
Yeah.
That's how Wendy has gotten some really cool pins. She got this really rare one.
From the Pixar short birds. And it was a limited edition of 100, 150 or something like that.
Yeah, it was very rare.
And the kid didn't want it because it's not like a cute looking thing. And so I grabbed it, and it was funny. The cast member was like, "I knew that wouldn't last long."
Because you know,
it was
you
just
can
my
tell.
kids. I just happened to have walked by at the same time.
And I think the kid gave that pin up, and then you walked by next, and you were like, "Wow, yeah, that didn't last very long." I got one. What else? Where is aha?
But I also try to make sure, like when I'm trading with the cast members for pins, I try to make sure that if it's a big pin that I want from them, I give them a big pin in return, or the biggest one that I have in my collection to make it look kind of even. So I'm not just like, here's some like rinky-dink pin, you know?
This one I found, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. And it's the Tron bike from the ride. And it's actually cool. On the back, it actually shows you, well, I don't know if you guys can see it, but it says
there.
Disney Tokyo.
Tilt it down.
Tokyo Disney. There. Or not Tokyo, it's
Hong Kong?
Hong Kong.
Or Shanghai.
Limited edition of 300. And I found this on a cast member. Yeah, and I was like, that looks so cool. And I traded it, and then I look at it, I'm like, oh, this is really cool kind of a thing. Yeah. So it's really fun to kind of go around, and you'll find those really rare pins, and it just makes it so much fun to go out and do that. But every now and again, I beat myself up because I forget to take my pin trading bag.
That's always the day that we always see like a really cool pin. You're like, do we go into the store and buy a pin to trade back, or is it not worth it? Usually we say it's not worth it and we don't do it. But pin trading is
let someone else who's like really excited about the pins.
We're not one of those. I know there are some pass holders or have been nicknamed
pin hoarders or something?
No, there's I had it in my head and I forgot it. But like basically they're like annual pass holes. instead of a-holes or pass holes, because they feel like this. Like,
I've never heard that before.
You've never heard it before? That term's been around for a bit.
That's awesome. I like that.
Yeah, just because like these pass holders, they go in there and they think like, oh, I give over this much money to the theme park, therefore I'm entitled to da 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 da. And I was like, look, you chose to give your money to Disney because you enjoy coming. Never ever you should feel entitled because you pay a certain, like, that was your choice. Nobody forced you, like, put your hand down and sign on this dotted line to give us your money. Like, we don't get like that at all. Like we know on a day if it's going to be busy. It's a little disappointing, but it's kind of like, well, that's everybody's right to come to the park. And
it's Disney, you know? Yeah. You kind of got to expect that every now and again. Yeah. You know, true, if you're a pass holder, you're lucky enough to be able to go on the days that aren't that busy. Mm-hmm. But if you go, 90% of the time, it's going to be busy.
It's going to be busy. And I always think of like things like, you know, let's step out of this line because like think of the family who spent their entire year's salary saving up for this 4-day trip and just like let them have the good experience. Like we can come back another day. So that's kind of like the mentality that we try to do that. I know I'm missing a lot of comments, so I want to go back up because I know today we said that we were going to do some AMA before we get to the very light topics. So let's go ahead and answer a couple more questions. And I love that you guys, and I don't know who started the nickname. I don't know if it was Vanja from like years ago, back in the Collider days. But the nickname Wonder Wendy came about.
I love
and
that
I
name.
was Wonder Wendy. It was funny. We were at actually, I think it was the Captain Marvel premiere, Carrie and I, and they had this spray painting wall where you can digitally spray paint the wall and it erases itself, so you can just take a picture of it.
Oh, that's cool.
And she wrote P. Nimmy, and I wrote, and I started to put Wonder Wendy, and I heard the crowd murmur around me like, is she gonna put Wonder Woman at a Captain Marvel premiere? And then I wrote Wonder, and then I wrote W, and they're like, oh, and I wrote Wendy, and they're like, oh, that's cool, I like that, Wonder Wendy. So I don't remember who came up with the nickname, but I love it. It's like my favorite nickname out of all the nicknames I have. Wonder Wendy is my favorite one. I even used it at a for a sideshow hosting once for like one of their Halloween things.
Which is, it's just a perfect name for her.
Oh, thanks. Oh. Okay, let's see. Which SpongeBob film do you guys like more? The first one or Sponge Out of Water?
I have to admit, I've never
We've never seen it.
any of the SpongeBob movies.
We've seen the show. I've seen the show. Because we have to at Universal Studios, because if you animate the character, then you have to like watch the show to understand the moves and the mannerisms and stuff of SpongeBob. But we actually have never watched the movie, but I actually do like SpongeBob a lot. So. I've
actually heard that, some of the SpongeBob movies were really good, like surprisingly good, to where people who aren't fans of the show were actually like, this is quite enjoyable.
Yeah.
So, and I just haven't gotten around to actually watching them because I know I'm probably going to get a little bit of hate for this. I'm not that big of a fan of the cartoons.
Yes.
I find SpongeBob to be a little obnoxious, but that is my personal opinion. I can see people who watch these cartoons and find it hysterical, which is great.
Like Rick and Morty.
Yeah. Well, no, I actually...
We love Rick and Morty.
Rick and Morty, yeah. I also like watching Rick and Morty because they also have usually a little bit of subtext of social commentary in there, kind of a thing. Kind of like, you know, how South Park does a little bit.
Yeah.
But some of... I for some reason I just didn't connect with SpongeBob.
Yeah.
But I've heard that the movies are really fun, and some of the movies are actually, you know, surprisingly good, even if you're not a fan.
Yes.
So I actually would like your guys' recommendation is, if I haven't seen many of the SpongeBob cartoons or the SpongeBob movie, which one would you be guys like, this is the one you have to start with, this is the one that will make you fall in love with SpongeBob? Because I actually also used to do some character work for special events. And one of the best events that I ever had, we had a guy dressed up as SpongeBob, a guy dressed up as Patrick, and me and my best friend were actually dressed up as pirates.
Oh, that's funny.
And when we started off the party, and then we brought SpongeBob and Patrick out, and we were just having a blast the entire party. I felt really bad for the guy that was in the SpongeBob costume.
It's hot, guys.
It's not only
it wasn't me, but I'm telling you, it's hot.
It is cumbersome, and if SpongeBob falls,
sponge down.
Sponge down. It takes a lot to get SpongeBob back up.
Yeah. Oh God, that reminds me of a time when I like literally ate it in my Minion.
Oh.
I actually ate it once as a Minion because there was water on the floor and I didn't see it. And
like,
before I knew it, I was on my back and I started laughing. And my PA was like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like cracking up, and she's like, "If you're laughing, I guess so, because if you were hurt, you were telling me that you were hurt." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine. Let's just get me up."
When characters fall down at any theme park, it's sad, but it's sometimes
as long as they're
really
not hurt.
As
long as they're not hurt and the stuff doesn't come and your costume is intact, it's funny as long as no one's hurt. But if somebody's hurt or if like the costume comes undone, then it's like a nightmare. Then it's like, oh my God, no.
Like we had friends that did the Elena and Zorro at Universal Studios. That was such an awesome show.
And then they axed it.
When they fought, when they did the sword fighting, not when they did the dancing.
I didn't like that.
But there was this time to when someone had left apparently like a ketchup packet on the ground and it didn't get
not
cleaned
on
up.
purpose. It was just somebody littered.
Yeah, and they were in the middle of their sword fight, and the Elena steps on it and goes whoops, and then the next thing she knew, she was down on the ground, and she just looks up at our friend and goes, "Zorro, what happened to me?" He goes, "You fell down."
Oh my God. Are you okay?
Are you okay?
Yeah, it was really funny, and we can maybe one day we'll do like a not a Saturday or Wednesday, but maybe we'll do a bonus stream where we just talk very casually about some of our show experiences. Maybe.
Because they're a lot of fun. I mean, even though there might be things about working at different theme parks that we can complain about, overall, I have to admit, I had a lot of fun playing different characters, working at theme parks, and it's always fun to kind of just talk about our history about it.
Yeah.
Kind of thing,
oh God.
our experience.
I was only there for 3.5 years, but like, I got stories. Oh my gosh, and I have to call out some of the Animal Crossing comments in our chat. And I know Vanja's been trying me to get me to play Splinter Cell. Him and Mike Kalinowski were like, you have to play it. I'm like, okay, I'll get to it.
There's a ton of different Splinter Cells.
Yeah.
Which one?
Yeah, Vanja, which one? Let me know which one.
Well, I guess we can start off with the newest one.
Well, that's true. And we go backwards.
Yep.
But Jack Robbins says, I planted 30,000 bells and I'm getting 90,000 back. It's the money tree.
Oh yeah, because
you
get 3 times whatever you plant.
And Jeffrey Miller says, love Animal Crossing, 400 plus hours. Dude, your island must look amazing. I'm not there yet. I just finally built my first bridge ever. And also hello to Anne, who was watching from Taiwan. I think she was watching me on Live It, and then she came over here. So everybody say hi to Anne. Thank you for hanging out. Oh my goodness. Okay, I just want to make sure I'm not missing any super chats. And hi to everybody. Okay, one more question, and then let's get into our very first
our first topic of the day.
First topic of the day. Let me just do one. Edward says, Wendy, are you having any more commercials or TV film projects upcoming? All the best. Oh, that's a great way to segue into our first topic. I do have a commercial that is in talks of being renewed, and that's all I can say for now. I haven't heard of any final decisions being made. So all of you guys, please keep your fingers crossed for me. There have been, cross all the toes, cross all the fingers. There have been some auditions like self-tape and stuff like that, but I assume that once production starts back here in California and in LA, that more and more will come, which will lead us into our very first topic. And hi, Pardy, how are you? Oh my God, I feel like it's been forever since I've talked to you. Welcome. So, okay, actually, the way I did this, it's backwards, but it's okay. We can go to
we can flip around on topics.
It's our show, so we can. So, as you guys know, everywhere here in the US, things are slowly starting to open up, some places faster than others. California does have a bit of a stricter regulation because we had a very high, like aside from New York, we had a lot of cases here.
Yes.
And, we just want to make sure everybody is staying safe. But Governor Newsom did announce that California are able to resume production starting June 12th. So we all know that production everywhere pretty much shut down around mid-March, which is when I got transitioned to work from home, and then the other stuff that I don't want to get into. But around mid-March is when basically most production, television, film, commercial, whatever, got shut down due to COVID. And that led to many movies having their theatrical releases pushed back or switched over to VOD, which we have talked about a lot on our show. Variety has reported that Governor Newsom announced that productions can start on June 12th, so long as county public health officials are giving their blessing, which means it has to meet certain guidelines or requirements. I'm sure they need to know the plans of like how many people can be on set, how are you handling the talents, how are you handling the food, what's being cleaned up, what's sanitization, mascara, like what is all of that. So there will be rules to follow, and we saw that Lionsgate had put out that, I think it was like leaked actually, but I think it was the Wrap that did like an article on it, that like they have these pods where actors have to be in a certain pod, and the producers, directors are in a different pod, and all craft services are individually packed. There's no more communal stuff. Absolutely not allowed. There's hand washing station, hand sanitizers, everything that we've been saying for a long time. So I'm sure you guys are familiar with it. So now that this announcement has been made, I'm sure LA, where all the studios are, all the sound stages are mostly located here, are going to start issuing their own regulations to get ready to reopen. This is a huge step forward for production everywhere, for directors, filmmakers, storytellers, content creators, and actors to I kind of get see like that light at the end of the tunnel to be like, oh my gosh, we can finally maybe start getting back to work.
Getting back to things being a little bit more normal.
Yeah. And
so, go ahead.
And this is going to be a good way to kind of see what is going to work, what is not going to work in order to keep everybody safe. And hopefully, fingers crossed, there's no spikes in any cases when this happens, because as an actor, your face is your moneymaker and all of your lines are, you know, like, so working with a mask while you're on camera probably won't work.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you can't.
It's only here. And it's like, maybe for, you know, like if you're doing like a modern thing, like if let's say somebody makes a movie about COVID, which probably won't happen.
Then people are going to be wearing masks.
But then they would have to take it off for their lines or something like that. So we have to see how, or maybe they ADR everything. I don't know. We will see. Let's see what else that I wrote. California also announced that starting on the 12th, schools, day camps, and casinos can also start exploring the option of reopening, and also sporting events could open, but with no spectators. We can also see that happening. So what is you guys' take on all of this? Are you happy about the news, or do you think it's too soon?
I personally think that, you know, you kind of have to start going in that direction. And if things start getting bad, just be prepared to be able to be like, okay, shut it all down. Or to be able to find out, hey, if we're reopening with these precautions in place, how well are they going to work? Is it going to spike? Is it because that we opened the businesses, or is it because of something else that happened? You know, it's kind of like we don't know until we try.
Yeah.
So
you have to try.
And people just have to take it respectfully, you know, and actually try to do it with these regulations in place. The thing is, though, it's also going to be different for each county, you know. So if LA County is super strict, does that mean they'll go to Orange County or go to some other county,
or some other country, even like Atlanta, I think,
or some other state
fully open. Yeah. So, and things were already in production in Atlanta, and I think they already started back up because they opened up before California even did. Yeah,
and that's also another thing. So do whatever you can in one state, and one county.
Yeah.
And whatever you can't do, they're probably just going to move it to a state that will allow it.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be tough.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be tricky, and it's gonna be a royal pain in the butt.
It's gonna have to require a lot of patience and a lot of like new things that we're not used to, because if you've been on even the smallest set, like I did a commercial for Crystal Geyser years ago, and I would call that a small set.
Yeah.
You know, we had one green room for the actors, and we had a cast of 5 or 6 people. And I could probably count to up to like maybe 60 people on set total.
Oh.
You know, because you have to think the clients are going to want to come to set, right? You have your makeup artists, you have your craft services people, you have all the PAs, you have all the camera and crew. Sometimes managers come by, sometimes additional producers come by. Like, you just don't know who could show up. So I think that's going to be changed. Like, I think people need to like clearance on, like, before you get to a set, like, are you coming? What time are you coming? They're going to have people checking everybody's temperature every single day, before and after. There's going to be additional hand wash. There's a lot of washing hands. I heard that, and this was like from the when they leaked the Lionsgate like guidelines for reopening, is that makeup, like, they can't share brushes. That was already a thing. Like, that's unsanitary. But now you have to be even more so. So I wonder if the makeup artists have to rethink their set bags. They have to do one set bag for one actor, another set bag for another actor. I also read
that's going to be...
you can't do retouches on set anymore. Like, the actors would have to do it on their own with their own stuff, because then that's close proximity with another person, and like all this and that. So, like, I'm so glad the last thing I shot, which was, that scene with Focus Feature, and that was with me, Gray Drake, Carla Renata, aka the Curvy Critic, and Scott Mance.
Wendy!
Yes! Wendy! Yes! Oh God, I miss his energy so much. It was the 4 of us plus I would say maybe like 25 to 30, maybe 40 people on set. And that was still a small set, you know, and that was right at the beginning, like literally a month before everything got shut down. We shot 3 episodes out, which was, and you can see the first episode, which I got to host on the, you know, that scene or / Focus Features YouTube channel, which was it was so much fun because we got to talk about the high note with Tracy Ellis Ross and Dakota Johnson and Calvin Harrison Jr. and great movie, great music. But I'm glad that was like the last thing I got to shoot.
Yeah, and then you got to do something right before everything shut down, because after being shut down for so long, you start getting antsy. You're like, I want to start doing the thing that I'm passionate about.
Absolutely.
But I mean, I just think that the biggest problem is going to be is that every county, every state, every city is different. I mean, so it's going to be like, okay, we're going to be shooting in this state, this county. What are the rules that we have to follow? Well, if we go to this state, this county, then we don't have to worry about this. But if we go and shoot here, then now.
But then you have to think about traveling all your talents, or I guess you can local hire then. If you didn't have a set talent in mind who's regularly based in LA, if they're already based in, that would have to be the route you go, because maybe not all talents are comfortable with traveling yet. Yeah,
true. So I mean, it's going to be something that the only way of seeing if it works is trying it out.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and put in the chat what the thing is called.
Oh, the Focus Feature.
Yeah.
You know that scene. Yeah. And Wendy did an amazing job.
I felt really good about that one.
It was funny. I remember her coming home from that shoot on the day that they shot her scene, hosting scene.
We shot everything.
And you were so nervous. You were like, oh my gosh, I don't think I did a good job.
Oh, the first time?
The first time.
The first season,
and
season 1.
This next season that you were in. And then when we watch it, she does an amazing job. She's like, ugh. That's why I let her do most of the talking, because she's so much better at it than I am.
Oh, stop it. No, I like your input, because your input is so different from mine, which is kind of what drives our conversation, which is what I like, because you don't want us to, I mean, for the most part, we feel the same way about most things, but there's different like inputs and stuff. That's what I really like about our conversation. I like this comment from Connor Diaz. How are they gonna film romance movies? Kissing is
that's gonna be tough.
That's a good point.
There's definitely not gonna have very many smoochy woochy kids scenes anymore. So, or
bringing your kissing double, like your significant other, and just like make them wear wigs and stuff. You just don't see their face.
Or what it's going to be like a close up of them getting close to kiss, and then it's going to be like 2 dummies, and it's going to be a super zoom in, so you only like see the lips of the fake dummy kind of thing.
My God.
But you know, it's gonna be something that you're gonna have to work out. Yeah. I think the biggest thing that will help with all of that is if we're able to get testing, so people can like take a test to see if they have COVID before they go in.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And then, I mean, you just test people every single day. Okay, hey guys, it's a new day. Come over here and take the test.
And I like also this comment from Debbie, who writes, do you think actors will have to buy their own brushes so they know it's theirs? Yes. I think if they want to, if they're paranoid like me, you would either bring your own brushes or buy a brand new one to use for your own touch-ups on set.
Yeah.
Makeup artists, go ahead.
The big problem is not just the brushes, but the palette of makeup. Because if you use, I mean, true, you use your own brush, but you still go put some more on. And then now that whole thing is now contaminated in a sense.
So let's talk a little bit about how makeup artists do this and how they keep things sanitized. And thank you for all the gifts, you guys that are watching on Live It. So this is pre-COVID. This was always a practice. Contamination and using same brushes on different actors has always been a no-no. That's like, especially on SAG projects, that's a big no-no. You are all protected by the union to do that. So what makeup artists have done is they will have like 2 to 4 different holders of brushes. And the way they do it, they will pull out a fresh one and they will apply your eye makeup from that palette. When they're done with that brush, they will put it in an empty holder, and those signify the dirty brushes, which they all clean with alcohol as soon as you're getting like 90%, 97% isopropyl alcohol cleanser. As soon as you're out of that chair, they will sanitize everything. That was already a practice for makeup artists. As far as eyeshadow palettes, how do they clean that? Because they are using it over and over, is they take that same isopropyl alcohol and they spray the entire palette to cleanse it, and then they scrape. You scrape the very top layer off, and then you dump that part out. So makeup artists, the reason why you think they charge so much, because they have to use that money to keep repurchasing supplies, because the way they use it, certain shades and certain palettes will go fast. So that's how they keep things. And that's just like, I'm just barely scratching the surface. Everything is super sanitized. When you go on sets, and if you see people kind of like going like this with a giant puff to de-shine, which means to take like oiliness and the sweat off of a talent, you will have, if I'm on set and they need to touch me up, I will have my own personal puff that will say Wendy on the bag, and they will reach into that bag. They will open the little packaging that says Wendy and take the sponge out and put it back in. So every single actor, every single talent have their own, and that's something you sharing the same sponge is a huge no-no. That could just cause a ton of health issues, even without the COVID, because people could have like bacteria and whatever you don't know about. That could be a huge deal. So always be kind to your makeup artists. Always be grateful.
Be kind to everyone.
Be kind to everybody on set. It's a lot of hurry up and wait.
Especially the makeup person, because they'll make you look good or horrible. Lighting and sound and camera and director and other actors. And
be nice to your PAs.
Just also know which production people can make you look good or can make you look really bad.
Yeah.
So don't piss those people off. But you shouldn't be pissing people off in general.
Yeah, period. All right, let's go ahead.
Don't be a jerk.
Exactly. Just be nice. It's not that hard. Let's go ahead and move on to our next topic, which is, Dustin actually found this, because when I heard it, I was like, the what? So I'm just going to go ahead and read you guys the premise. But as you can see from our little banner here, Donnie Yen stars in a movie called Enter the Fat Dragon. We didn't come up with the title. They came up with it. And let's go ahead and read you our notes from it. Here we go. And this is the synopsis from the studio who is distributing okay, here we go. Enter the Fat Dragon is a hilarious chronicle of the events that transformed super fit, super cop Fallon Zhu, played by Donnie Yen, into a glorified records clerk with a major snack cake habit. What is a snack cake habit? Like he just eats like Little Debbie's?
Like, yeah, probably constantly eating.
I love Little Debbie's. I love Little Debbie's. Okay, after a desperate request from an old colleague, Zhu teams up with a wily, wok-wielding restaurateur to solve a mysterious murder and take his one last shot at regaining both his job and his fiancée. And this movie is directed by Kenji Tanigaki and is distributed by Wellgo USA Entertainment. And those are the people who are also distributing Train to Busan and Peninsula. It's the same company that distributes those films, and that is to be later released this year. We have not done a trailer reaction to it, which we will get to. I hesitate a little bit on doing it because I thought maybe we're gonna go away from putting an actor in a fat suit and like not body shame people with like a weight problem.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, and that seems to be the gag. Is the fact that, it's Donnie Yen, who's an amazing martial artist, but what if he was fat?
Right.
And then we turn it into a comedy.
Yeah.
I mean, so
I have very mixed feelings about that.
On how they handle the, what is that called? The context to this, and whether or not they're going to be fat shaming him, or if it's going to be more along the lines of how depression and, things that when things go wrong in your life, how gaining weight is kind of a common problem that people have to deal with, and finding that purpose in your life can really help that part is a good help you with that depression.
Yeah. So I wonder, like, based on the thing, it's not like it wasn't that it's some sort of transformation happened and that's how he became that way. But I just thought maybe we were gonna move away from that a little bit. So I'm a little like, do I do a trailer reaction? Do I not? I don't know how I feel about this. I want to support it because I love Donnie Yen. I loved him in Rogue One. Chris and I were talking about this on Live It before the show today. Amongst other things, Ip Man, Mulan, he plays Commander Tong, who was excellent in the movie. amongst other things that he's done. Like, just a prolific actor, and I just like wonder. I'm like, I mean, it sounds like it's something fun for him to make.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of the thing. And he does wear a fat suit for it. And I just imagine how much more difficult it is for him to wear that suit, which I'm sure has a little bit of weight to it.
Yeah.
And hot and restricted movement, but he is still doing the martial arts in it. So
I guess we'll find out. I mean, it kind of reminds me of that one scene from Cobra Kai in the very first episode.
Yeah.
Where Johnny, is that Johnny hasn't done martial arts for a long time, and then he gets into that fight, and he does this really awesome like spinning back kick, and then he's just like, "Oh, I haven't done that in a while."
Ow.
And he pulls his, and it's so. I mean, but yet, I mean, it looks like Donnie Yen's doing. I mean, if it's Donnie Yen, he's going to be doing a lot of martial arts in that fat suit.
Exactly. Like when you hire Donnie Yen, you want to also utilize his martial arts skills. He's so good and so charismatic on screen. And I like a lot of you guys' comments. David says, not very PC in our day and age. Donnie Yen... I know Wing Chun, by the way. Tell Louis Tan. Louis Tan. Adam says, I agree. Even as a fan of both Eddie Murphy's Nutty Professor films, they haven't aged particularly well in terms of portrayal of overweight people. See Norbit for the worst case scenario. Yeah.
See what?
Norbit. So it's just another, like, it's an actor in a fat suit, and it's just kind of like it's a whole thing. So yeah, like I wonder if it may play better in other countries.
True. Globally. To where some other countries don't actually have it, not an issue, but to where it's not as
when they don't PC? See it right. They don't see it as that. Like maybe they have a different view on it. But I just worry that it turns into like fat shaming. Like, of course, like the fat guy was like a glorified clerk, like records clerk, like with a sitting down office job. And it's kind of like, well, what if they are fit? I know tons of people in all shapes and sizes in Taekwondo when we go to class.
Yeah. And
a lot of them better than us, and we're senior brown belts. And I'm just kind of like, wow, how do you do that? Like I can't even put my leg up that high. And they're like, bah, 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 bah. So you know, mixed feelings about that, but we wanted to go ahead and put that in the notes too. And let's go ahead and move on to our next topic. And Dustin's actually going to take the lead on this one. So he's going to pull out his notes, and I'll go ahead and put the banner up. And you guys, Black Cauldron may be made into a live action film. How about that?
Yeah. So there's this YouTube site, not YouTube, Facebook called Geek Tyrant that I constantly flip through because they seem to have a lot of really cool stuff. And they said that there was a reporter that was putting out the word that Disney had actually reacquired the rights to the Black Cauldron or the whole book series, and that they were planning on making a live action version of this movie. And a part of me at first was kind of like, oh, I would love to see that, because you have the Horned King, you have the Army of the Dead. There's a lot of cool special effects that you could bring to a live action version of this. But then the more and more I started to read, the more and more I found out just how little the movie was actually based on the books. And because the book is the book series is apparently a 5-book series. And they only took like the first 2 books and like super abridged it for the original cartoon that came out in 1985.
Yeah.
Which of course, unfortunately flopped. But for me, it was one of the first times that I saw a Disney movie that was just gritty and was actually that had it was a very scary undertone with the Horned King of this demon character, and bringing back this Army of the Dead and it was kind of brutal too.
I mean, in the movie, we talked about this in Waking Sleeping Beauty in our review, that like when we both watched it, we're like, oh, because we were both younger. So we're like, oh my God, this is a Disney film. But it's, for us, like looking back at it, we still love it. And we love that it was, you kind of love it for how kind of gruesome and horrific it kind of seemed, you know. It was different, and I liked it.
And now here's also another thing, because the more and more I thought about them bringing this to live action, the more I'm like, wait, you've got a 5-book series here. I think this would almost be something better to keep as a cartoon and to do kind of like a Dragon Prince or a Last Airbender kind of cartoon animated series. Maybe make it a little bit darker. And so you can explore the entire story of these 5 books. And I was like, this is great material.
Yeah.
And you can still carry the name, The Black Cauldron.
Yes.
Through it, even though I think the name of the books is something completely
It's not even
different.
called The Black Cauldron?
The series of the books, I think maybe like the first or second book is actually called The Black Cauldron, but the whole series is it's called The Chronicles of, and
Narnia.
a word that but a book, a word I wasn't able to pronounce. So it's harder for me to keep that in my brain when I'm trying to remember names, because I'm terrible.
Do you remember reading if Disney or anybody represented any representatives?
No, this has not been confirmed.
Okay.
This has not been confirmed.
We have to treat this kind of like a
rumor.
scoop/rumor for now until it is verified by confirmed via statement from Disney. And I want to go to the chat for a couple of you guys' comments right now. Zeno Hour says Black Cauldron would be perfect for live action, and I agree. I think
it would be really cool,
especially if they keep the darkness around it. I don't want them to change it and make it all like light and like fluffy. Like I don't want that. Like Black Cauldron should be Black Cauldron.
You know what would be really cool is if they kind of did like a PG-13 version of this, of like Game of Thrones, but Black Cauldron themed, but live action. So you could get because you can get a lot of material and a lot of video out of this, a lot of hours of entertainment that you're able to put up on Disney Plus. So I think it would be a really cool idea to turn this more into a series than just a one-off movie, because you're going to miss out on a lot of cool book material if you just make a one-off movie, kind of like what they did with the cartoon.
Yeah.
You had to hack and slash that book series to itty-bitty pieces.
Itty-bitty little piece. And Debbie also says the same thing, live-action Disney Plus series, which is something that I can see them going the route of instead of releasing it in theater unless they really want to. And Noah says, even Disney remaking Lilo and Stitch into a live-action movie, as well as The Little Mermaid being remade into live action. I know I've heard about The Little Mermaid. I've heard whispers about Lilo and Stitch as well. That one I'm a little bit more, I don't know. We'll see.
It's so cartoonish. I mean, the characters and the storyline,
especially Lilo and Stitch,
is very cartoon. That's what I meant. Yeah, Lilo and Stitch. That I think is gonna, even though it would be kind of cool to see Stitch as a live action CGI character.
Yeah,
I still kind of think that it deserves to be. Since it's so cartoonish.
Yeah,
you kind of need it. You need that cartoon to be able to give us that suspension of disbelief.
Exactly. And right now we have a super chat from Chris Mendez. We're gonna go to it right now. Chris says, in a Force and lightsaber battle, who would win, Ahsoka versus Rey? My immediate answer goes to Ahsoka because I'm biased towards Ahsoka. I think she is really surpassed what we have seen, especially, in the last 4 episodes of the Clone Wars, to see how far her power has gone. However, Ahsoka does not have the blood of Palpatine running through her veins. And Rey, according to the final installment of the Star Wars, is. So that makes me wonder, like, in a Force, like, would Rey technically be stronger? But in lightsaber, Ahsoka is more proficient. Yeah.
Well, I think that's actually the big thing. That was one of the big complaints about all 3 of the movies, especially in the first one, where how is Rey able to stand up against Kylo Ren in a lightsaber fight when she's never had any lightsaber training?
Right.
We actually have not seen Rey. Rey has earned a little bit of her training prowess in the Return of The Last Jedi.
Okay.
In The Last Jedi, we do see her do a little bit of training and a little bit in Rise of Skywalker. However, we have hours and hours and hours of footage of seeing Ahsoka in battle, in training, fighting people who are much stronger than her. She has, I think, more of the experience, we've seen her train, we've seen her practice in the Force. Whereas Rey, we know she's powerful because of her bloodline and because the movies say so.
Yep.
But we haven't really seen Rey, I think, I don't want to say earn it, but Rey, we haven't seen Rey work as much as we have seen Ahsoka work, because she has so much more footage in the Clone Wars and so many hours of her being in situations where she has to outsmart someone that's more powerful than her, or her being possessed and her full power coming out.
Also directly trained from, you know, Anakin
and Obi-Wan, who are the two most, legendary, powerful Jedis.
Yeah. So, like, if we can divide the categories, I would give the lightsaber fight to Ahsoka, the title to Ahsoka. But as far as the Force goes, I feel like maybe Rey has a slightly closer collection due to her bloodline. If we're following,
she has more power.
Yeah.
Ahsoka, I think, would have more experience.
So I think that's interesting. Let's see what some people are saying in the chat. David says, I reckon Ahsoka would win too, despite Palpatine's DNA. I like that. Chris, what do you think? I don't think you put your answer, but that is an excellent question. Thank you so much.
And what's really cool is, I'm wondering is if we could ever get an old Ahsoka meeting Rey in like a cartoon series that takes place after the Rise of Skywalker. I think that would be really cool.
If they do an Ahsoka spinoff.
Well, we know that they're going to be telling a little bit of Ahsoka's story that takes place around the time of Mandalorian and between Return of the Jedi and A New Hope.
Yeah.
But we also know that Ahsoka makes it all the way through Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Because of the ending of Rebels.
Yes.
It talks about the fall of the Empire.
Yes.
And then you see Ahsoka. So Ahsoka's around.
Yeah.
She is probably even around during the time of Rey and Finn and all of them. So it would be interesting to have those two meet up.
Yeah, I think though they have to do it in like via animated.
Yeah.
I think that would be better if they decided to bring back like Clone Wars or Rebels. If they decided to bring Rebels back, then maybe we can time jump and do that a little bit. But that's something I love to see. And thank you so much, Chris, for an awesome question, and thank you for your support.
You give some pretty awesome questions, dude.
Chris,
thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Let's go ahead and take this moment and jump into our final news topic before we get into Madlib and some AMA stuff. So this one, it's about Josh Trank. And this came to light in an interview with Geeks of Color and via the meaning of podcast. I don't know if that's the right way to say it. But so we'll just call it Geeks of Color because that's where the article and the interview lives. And this is about Josh Trank, who recently is doing like a lot of press and promo for his movie Capone, based on Al Capone, played by Tom Hardy. So
this looks amazing.
It looks so good.
Super
Our trailer reaction's up if you want to see that. So in this interview, Josh Trank initially wanted to cast a Black actress for Susan Storm. And as we all know, Susan's brother, Johnny Storm, was actually played by Michael B. Jordan. And Josh Trank wanted the Storm family to be Black. And after he met some, and this was a quote directly that I pulled from the article/interview, heavy pushback from the studio, he actually backed down from that decision. And remember, this was him coming off of Chronicle. Yeah, go ahead. This is him coming off of Chronicle. He was 26 at the time, and this is his like first big budget movie. So I assume that there is, you know, just a lot of people that's been doing this forever telling him like, oh no, we can't do. I don't really know exactly what was said, but he did meet some pretty heavy pushback. And then let's see where we are in the interview. Trank said he was embarrassed with himself for backing down from his principles and said he should have just quit the movie right there and then. And this is the quote from the interview. There were a lot of controversial conversation that were had behind the scenes on that. And he also went on to say, I was mostly interested in a Black Susan Storm and a Black Johnny Storm and a Black Franklin Storm. But when you're dealing with the studio on a massive movie like that, everyone wants to keep an open mind to like who the big stars are going to be, like, oh, maybe it'll be Margot Robbie or something like that. But when it came down to it, I found a lot of pretty heavy pushback on casting a Black woman in the role. And he followed up by saying, in hindsight, he should have parted ways with the project, a film which went on to be basically a bust.
Huge flop
in the box office, and just the audience and the critics did not like it. And it's stories of behind the scene drama, basically kind of ruined his career for a bit. Like nobody was calling him to do anything. So I'm happy that Capone is coming out, and I'm happy that he didn't give up. He kept on going despite this, because the Capone trailer looked really, really good. And the final quote I have here is, he says, "I feel bad that I didn't take it to the mat with that issue. Yeah, I feel like I failed in that regard," he said. If it's one regret that I have, and I've talked a lot about not having any regrets, it's that issue. So what do you guys think on this topic, and what would the movie have been like if he didn't back down from that decision?
Well, this is the thing. That movie was so terrible. I don't think changing any individual actor for any other individual actor would have made any difference. The way the studios kind of stepped in and then took away the money and said, "Oh, okay, you don't get to do this anymore. That means we have to take out pretty much everything that we were planning on doing here." It's just another what is that term? Another drop in the bucket.
Yeah.
You know, and true. Don't get me wrong. It should have. He's probably feeling like, well, that was my first sign that things were gonna go bad, and if I would have stuck to my guns there, maybe then other things would have kind of fallen in line.
Yeah.
But honestly, from what I've heard of stories in the past about this project, that one thing would have made no difference whatsoever.
Because there were other many factors that made the movie not seem good.
Yeah, and I also thought it was really weird that you have Johnny Storm and his dad,
who are both black,
and then you have a white Susan Storm.
Then they said that she was adopted.
Okay, she was adopted. Okay,
so fine, but
why not just make
it a black family?
Yeah, like, why not? I know, what is it? That was a big thing that even the guy from Searching was talking about. Why does it have to be a Korean family? And he goes, why not?
Why not a Korean family? Why not? That's the world we live in now.
What difference does it make?
Right.
I mean, this is why I want to tell this story from this perspective.
Yes.
And yet the fact that he has to fight for that is just ridiculous.
Yeah. I really appreciate Josh Trank coming out now and speaking about it, because like literally nobody knew about that at all, and we knew there was a lot of like just drama surrounding that movie as far as behind the scene goes. And it's funny because I remember watching like the first maybe like 10-15 minutes of the movie and going, "Oh, this isn't exactly like bad as I thought it was going to be." And then as soon as I thought it was like, boo, and I was like, "Oh no, I take it back." It wasn't.
The first 5 minutes are pretty good, and then after that it's
and then it wasn't. You can just tell there was too many cooks in the kitchen wanting to do this and that, and it took away from the director's like way of what he wanted to tell with his vision, and that was really, really unfortunate. And like, at no fault to the actors that were cast, like Kate Mara was definitely like a hot name at the time, and I enjoy her immensely. Like I remember seeing her in House of Cards, and I was like, whoa, I like her so much. Who is this? So I understand the decision, and it's not like she can't act. Like I enjoyed her in the film, but a black family to me would have made sense.
Yeah, and you know what? Honestly, that's something that moviegoers really do have to get to wrap their heads around. Of don't blame the actors.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's a terrible movie, because most likely you have producers saying one thing, you have directors saying another. They're just the actors are just there to kind of do what they're told.
Yeah.
Now, true, there are some actors who are just not good actors. About one different prison, sometimes, yeah, but most 90% of the time, it's going to be the directions that they get, the story that they get, and they really don't have any control over what they do. So don't blame the actors. I feel so bad about how bad that one kid from Phantom Menace who played Anakin, his life was ruined.
Oh my God, yeah, the kid literally followed directions, words that were written in the script, directions that were given to him by the director of the film to say, please do this. That's what you're hired to do. And as a kid, like, you know, and he was like so new on the scene that you don't know to speak up.
Well, no,
like what would you do? What would you like, you know what I'm saying? So I think it was, especially in a case like that where he was a kid and got bullied. Like adults were bullying a child actor for doing his job. You know, it's kind of unbelievable. So let's see what some of you guys are saying about the news about Josh Trank. Jonathan says, I enjoy Fantastic Four 2015, and if the Storm family was black, it would be just as good to me as the one we got. See what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Like it doesn't. There's no. To me, there is no difference.
Yeah.
Wasn't that the actress from the movie House of Cards? Yes, that was the actress from House of Cards. Adam says either cast the Fantastic Four as all people of color, like from Japan or something like that. I 100% agree. But you need a good script to make it work.
Good script, good direction, good, and the support of a producer.
Yes, the support of a studio. To say, you know what, we trust your vision. Let's do it, or let's like workshop it, you know, until it's right. And thank you for Debbie for pointing this out. Credit to RB3, Sabrina, and Ace for the interview with Josh Trank. And again, the entire video is up on the Geeks of Color website if you want to go ahead and give it a gander. It's pretty cool. All right. Andrew says, it's hard when a director jumps into a major studio movie for their second movie. Yep. Because they end up not having enough clout to make the movie they want. And unfortunately, I know that's not always the case, but unfortunately this was the case with the movie and with Josh Trank. So I think now is the time to support Josh Trank and go and see his movie, which we will probably do soon because I am like so interested. Do we want to move on to, I hope I didn't miss any super chats. I don't think so.
No, I think we got, I think we got all the super chats.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and move on to Madlib.
Yeah.
Madlib time. It's been so long since we Madlibbed, so let's go ahead and do that.
So let's see. Oh.
Hello, everybody.
I got one.
Okay.
I found it. This one is called Jabba's Palace.
Okay, you do that, and I will write it down.
Oh, well then, do you want this or? Okay,
so you call it out, and I'll watch and write it.
So the first thing that we're going to be needing are some adjectives, which are descriptive words. I've done this. We've done this a couple times, and I always forget. You know, language is never one of my strong points.
An adjective describes something or somebody, as in the words such as lumpy, soft, ugly, messy, like Messica, and short, like me. Those are your adjectives. So go ahead and drop your adjectives in. And while we're doing that, we are also looking for...
So we also need adjectives. We need adverbs and a noun.
And if you need to know what those are, an adverb tells how something is done. It modifies a verb and usually ends in ly. So words such as modestly, stupidly, greedily, and carefully, those are adverbs, and nouns is probably the easiest one. Describes a person, place, or thing. It could be a hamburger, could be a light, could be wallpaper. That's your noun. So go ahead and drop them off. Okay, we have the words vibrant, peaceful, colorful. Which one do you want? Disturbing. Gelatinous.
Gelatinous cube. So
for anybody who watched Onward, you know where that's from.
Which is a reference to Dungeons and Dragons as well. So swimmingly.
Swimmingly. Okay, hang on a second. Where's my adverb?
So adverb, noun. Oh, wait a second. I can actually just look up here. Adverb, noun. Also a verb ending in ing. We need two of those. Two verbs ending in ing. So we still need, did you get the ad? We got the adverb. We need the noun and two verbs ending in ing.
I think we saw some.
Well, there's probably a couple of them up there. Yeah. You guys put up words sometimes so fast.
Yeah,
and I'm just like, wait, where'd they all go?
I love it. Describe someone. Okay.
So a person, place, or a thing, and then two ing verbs.
Oops. Oh no, I messed up.
Uh-oh. If that eraser, oh good, the eraser works. I was afraid that these pencils that I have are kind of old. So you know how the rubber eraser starts just turn super hard and it just kind of smears it and doesn't actually erase it?
Oh my God, this is so fun. We need a number as well.
A number and a noun. Did you put a noun?
I'm putting it right now.
Ah, sounds good. So now, yeah, an adjective. Oh, we need like 3 adjectives. So get those adjectives out and put them on down. And
I'm going to scroll up as well.
Okie dokie.
I think I already used that one. Is there another noun?
So, I like Pizza the Hut as a noun.
We're putting that down as well.
Spaceballs! God, I love that movie. I got to go back and watch that movie again. We got to do like a, what is that called? A Mel Brooks marathon.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
And just watch a whole bunch of Mel Brooks films. Just have them on in the background throughout the entire day. We just move from one to another, to another, to another. So let's see here. What else do we need? Okay, so do you have your number?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, you're jumping all over the place.
Yeah, I have to.
I'm like, part of the body. We're going to need a part of the body sooner or later.
Uh-huh.
Whatever you want to call that part of the body for Jabba the Hutt, you know? Well, he only has like the slimy body, and then he has like his little arms with his big mouth.
Oh, that's funny.
And so, yeah. What else? Nouns.
Adjective.
Adjective is that describing word.
I need a bunch of adjectives. So if you want to pop them in, go. Oh, there we go.
Scruffily.
Pretty.
Kind of going for a little bit of Han Solo there. Who's scruffy looking? Nerf herder.
Oh, that's a fun one.
Well, I don't know if anyone actually put that down. That was just me.
Body part.
Funny.
Where's my body part?
Earlobe, tongue.
Oh my God.
T-Rex
earlobe?
arms, nose, appendix, spleen.
Almost done.
Daunting.
Daunting.
Ooh, that's a cool word.
I missed some numbers. I know they're back up here, so let me.
One was like 666, 96, 42, Lone Star. Do we need a name?
A noun, you mean?
Oh, I guess a noun. Wait,
Yeah,
same noun? So a noun that we've used before?
Where do you see that?
It says right here, same noun. I'm wondering what that means.
Yeah, this one.
Oh, okay. So we have to use one of the nouns that we have twice. Probably as the
let's find some nouns.
Person, place, or thing. So Lone Star would be a noun. T-Rex arms, that kind of falls into a more of a body part. Order 66. Saw that. Funny. I love doing these. These are.
I know this part is like a little bit like harder, but
it's a little it's a little tedious too, because we have to wait to get them down. We have to find out what we need. So it all depends.
Yeah.
On how quickly we can get these.
Okay.
I take it. Okay. Wendy and Dustin.
Okay. Final thing we need is a plural noun.
Plural noun?
Yeah, just something with. That could work.
Okay. And there's also probably some nouns there that you can just
we are finished.
Yourself. Woohoo!
All right, here we go. Man purse. Oh, man. Okay. So today's Mad Lib is titled, and thank you everybody for all of your inputs, for all your adjectives, nouns, adverbs, and body parts and numbers. And today's theme for the Star Wars Mad Lib is Jabba's Palace. That's going to be really, really, really fun. Okay, here we go. If you ever find yourself on the remote and gelatinous planet Tatooine, you'll notice pretty swimmingly that there is not much in the ways of entertainment, unless you happen to wander into Jabba's Hutt's hockey puck. At any time of day or night, the band is smashing, and someone is disturbing to the sound of slimy music. But these scruffy performers don't want to be there. They're all captives of the dark, drooling, slimy, 666-pound slumlord Jabba the Pizza the Hutt, who rules Tatooine with an iron earlobe. If anyone tries to escape, the guests can watch another one of Jabba's favorite form of entertainment, dropping the unlucky Lone Star into the barf pit. No one ever comes out moist, from the barf pit.
Ew.
Oh,
that's
no.
wrong.
How do they go together? Okay, final sentence. On second thought, the next time you visit Tatooine, don't set spleen near Jabba's palace. The smell of Jabba alone should be enough to keep you light whips away.
Ah.
Yay!
Good
We
job,
did it!
guys. That was hilarious.
Oh, ew.
And a little gross at the
Dropping
same
the
time.
unlucky Lone Star into the barf pit.
Barf.
No one ever comes out moist from the barf pit, which is like the opposite, you would think.
You'd be very moist. I know that is some people's favorite word.
Your cousin hate that word.
Oh my god, yeah, my cousin just hates that word.
Hates
anytime
it.
someone says it, she's just like, ugh, gross.
In this instance, I can see why she hated it. Normally, it doesn't bother me.
Yeah, but anytime you're talking about barfing and moist, you're just like, no. Nope.
Oh my gosh. Thank you all of you guys for all of your contributions to the Madlib. We are going to stay on for a few more minutes and do a little bit of AMA if you guys want to do that just for like about the next 10 minutes or so. And then we will, people are like, whoa, it's chunks.
Chunky is another one of those words that you just don't want to mix with that one.
That's gross. No, I like all the crying, laughing emojis and all the barf emojis that I'm seeing. Fantastic. I know. I feel like sometimes I talk a lot and then like I feel like I need to yawn or something like that.
Yeah.
It's a little weird. I'm going to go ahead and scroll up through the chat and see if there's anything we may have missed previously. Oh, I got to scroll past all the
Mad Libs.
Yeah. Let's see what you guys are saying.
Someone mentioned New Mutants. And that's weird because, what's going on with the New Mutants is it kind of rings a little bit of what happened to Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
But, it's a little bit different because it's like they have the product finished, but it's constantly getting pushed back, rearranged. Someone else is taking it. Okay, now what do we do with this? Oh, shoot, we've lost it. Now someone else has to do it. Oh, now we have to postpone the release of this
again.
And I'm excited for the movie. I've been excited since I first saw the first trailer of it.
Cool.
This is going to be a very cool take on a superhero genre movie.
Yep.
And I'm excited just to see how they pulled it off. Everything that I've seen so far just seems really, really good. So I'm really curious about what they're going to be doing with the New Mutants.
Yeah. I'm seeing somebody named Sohill says, I request you please check my message. I'm not sure where you sent the message to. I don't think we have any messages on our YouTube channel. So let us know if you did send a message. Let us know where we can find it and we can go ahead and check it out. But thank you. Thank you for checking us out. If you're still here in the chat, sorry I missed it earlier. Let's see. Got some new comments coming in. Let me just go to the end of this. What movies would you recommend on Netflix?
Oh, what movies?
If you haven't watched, and I don't know if they put this on Netflix or if it's on other platforms, but I know it is free to rent, and that is Just Mercy with Jamie Foxx and Michael B. Jordan and Brie Larson. That's a good one to watch. Another movie.
It's kind of hard. What happens is essentially we have so many different streaming services. I'm kind of like, wait, which one did we see on Netflix? Which one did we not see on Netflix? Which one did we watch on HBO Max, or Disney Plus, or that's a really hard thing to specifically pick Netflix. Like I'm gonna have to like go through my phone and be like, oh yeah, that's right.
I'm trying to think of what the last movie on Netflix that we saw. We've been watching more shows on Disney Plus and on Hulu instead.
Yeah.
But Just Mercy is available for free for the entire month of June. So if you want to check that out for free. It's across all VOD platforms, so I don't know if it's just like Movies Anywhere or Amazon Prime or something like that. But I would 100% check that out. Debbie says, who's your favorite of the Mighty Ducks character? I love Charlie Conway, aka Josh Jackson. Joshua Jackson. I would have to say that might be my favorite as well. Yeah. Is consensus?
Yep.
Oh, there's that question.
I got to go back and watch. There's so many movies that I have to go back and watch.
Yeah.
And I remember, loving Mighty Ducks and that whole series. You know, it got a little franchised out a little bit at the end. But yeah, I mean, honestly, Mighty Ducks. I want to go back and see Goonies.
Yeah.
Oh, Mel Brooks films. So, but yeah, and then I would get for Mighty Ducks. You know what? I also really liked Goldberg.
Okay.
Goldberg, the goalie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a good pick as well.
And I just love that one time when at the very beginning to where since he doesn't have any of the pads, any of the gear, he doesn't want to be in front of the goal. So as soon as he sees everyone start skating down towards the goal, he throws down his gloves. He's like, just go, just take it. It's yours.
Take the goal. It's yours. Next question is from Chris Mendez, who writes, who would win in an ultimate grudge match? Navi versus Falcor.
Well, Navi already wins.
She already wins because Falcor gives up very easily when they're fighting over the same toy. If she comes up and tries to grab it, he'll just automatically let go and he'll just like move away from it. I think he just does it to taunt her.
Yeah.
Despite her, he's just kind of like, I have your toy in my mouth. What are you going to do about it? And he drops it and she's like,
oh, now
take it anyways.
Now it's no longer any fun because you're just going to give it to me.
Yeah.
I think there's been one or two times when Falcor's actually put up a little bit of a fight.
A little bit, yeah.
To where he's like growling a little bit.
And she'll back away. The two of them actually, even though they don't really interact as much as I would like them to, they do are very protective and they do care for each other in this really weird, really cute way. There's an age gap too. She's younger.
Well, also when you watch them on the camera, when we put them into daycare, you see Falcor actually kind of protecting
and
Navi.
Vice versa. I remember we saw this one dog that wouldn't leave Falcor alone, just kept on following Falcor at the daycare. And finally Navi went up and she was like, ah! And then I was like, okay, and scrambled. And I was like, and I happened to catch it because when I was at work, if I was, at the office all day, we would have no choice but to put the dogs in daycare if I couldn't bring them to the office on that day. So I would just have the daycare cam up and, then the dogs just kind of tornado the room and you just see Navi like, ah! And they're never far from each other.
Yeah.
They're always close by each other, which is, I think, so cute.
Super cute. That's what our dogs are. No matter what they do, they're super cute.
Vanja says, how long do you guys do Taekwondo? Can you put a video of your skills? Oh, we ever since like COVID, because I've been wanting to kind of go back and continue to work to improve. But because of COVID, we can't. And to work out at home without the instructor there to kind of correct you and put your leg in this certain position to be like, this is how it should feel. It's really, really hard. What we probably should do is maybe watch some videos of the old Punses.
Oh, yeah.
And
plus, I'm really out of practice because what happened was after my brother passed away, I kind of fell off the boat, so to speak, of Taekwondo. And then I just kind of never got around to going back. Yeah. At the time, though, I think I was second degree brown belt. So I was a senior brown belt. So all I had to do was get to my red belt, and then I was able to test for my black belt.
No, you would have been red belt and then Bodon. And then you would have tested for your black belt. So you had maybe another year. I probably have about another 2 years because I remember I wasn't really happy with like where I was as far as my skills goes. Like it wasn't perfect. And the instructor's like, well, you can test it still if you want. I was like, no, I want to go another like period before, like I basically don't want to test this period. I want to test the next period because I wasn't happy with one of the kicking forms. And if it wasn't going to be perfect in my mind, then I don't want to test. I don't want them to give me like any sort of accolades for it.
And one of the big problems that I also was starting to develop was I've had 2 knee surgeries. So one of the big problems is even anytime I did sparring or anytime I went a little too hard, my knee would tell me and let me know that, Dustin, you need to relax and not do this so hard. So I really do need to go back, though, because I remember it was so much fun. I really enjoyed it. It kept us in good shape, and I miss it.
Yeah. Let's see. Does anyone have a story of someone puking on a ride or a roller coaster?
Oh, okay.
Do you?
No, I was going to tell them what happened to Adam and Diana.
Okay.
So we have two friends, and they had been dying to go see. Well, it was a Book of Mormon, and they saw it at they finally, after it being out for years, they were finally able to get tickets to go see Book of Mormon. They were so excited. They were dressed up in really nice clothes.
2x2. Sorry.
And they got some pretty good seats. However, the people behind them decided to come to the theater plastered. I mean, like, from what they were saying, like they were stumbling into the theater. And before the play even started, they were trying to get to their seats, and the person just did a blah.
Like Problem Child, like in the movie Problem Child status.
Yeah.
Linda Blair just like blah all over the roll in front of her.
So, and what was worse is that I think like Adam and my buddy, Adam and Diana got like the worst of it. They were like they just got puked on, and it was just like a spray.
It was in their hair, it's all over their clothes were ruined.
And so the people behind them got kicked out. They went, of course, they were like, I don't want to sit.
They're not allowed to come back.
Yeah. They got banned from the Pantages Theater, and they, my friends actually got free tickets to return. Good. But still, it's kind of like, you just got puked on. You're not going to want to sit and watch the show.
And plus,
so they went and they tried to clean themselves off as much as they could. Didn't they just give them
clothes?
That I don't remember. They might have given them like a new you know what? That probably would have been nice if they did do that. I've got to talk to them and say, hey.
We should ask, because Pantages, they sell merch.
Yeah.
So at least a new shirt for them to change into, because that's freaking gross.
That is disgusting.
And I also feel, even if you didn't get puked on and you were lucky and you sat in the row but you didn't get puked on, there's still the stench. And like, so everybody has to like exit out of the roles, and like everybody wears nice clothes to the theater as, you know, like part of like respect to the arts and stuff like that. And then you have to deal with somebody that's just like decides like they want to pregame so hard. You can't hold your stuff together to watch a show. Come on, then you should have stayed home, because you ruined it for so many people that paid that much money. And
anyone, who sat in that area just has to deal with that smell. You know,
I'm hoping that they cleared out the theater to kind of help clean it up before they started the show.
I wouldn't be surprised if they did something like that. But now, what would happen if that like happened now? Like all these theaters start opening and something like that happened. You know, I'd be freaked out on like if I got COVID or something.
Oh my God, I didn't even think about it like that. Well, we're not going to the theater for a long time, and if we do, we're sitting in the back row.
We're bringing raincoats.
Oh my God! So that's our one little, it's not our story, but we told someone else's story. Let us know if you guys have any experiences like that. This next question comes from Blade GTR, who writes, do you all know any Disney secrets, and did any of the secrets you found out shock you? I had to warn my brother about the Have a Magical Disney Day code when we went last year. What's that?
I don't know what that is.
I thought that's
Have a Magical Disney Day?
Is that like an FU?
I think that might actually be more along the lines of if you say that to a cast member, they know something's wrong. Because normally people would just say have a magical day, but if you have a magical Disney Day, it's kind of like, what is it, that woman who called up 911 to order pizza, and the what is it called? The the dispatch was like, what is going? Oh, I get what this is. Yeah. It's code kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. So Disney secrets, I would have to. I know, what is it? They do. I heard something that they do early in the morning at Pirates Island, that you can go in there, be like one of the first people, and you can find something in there. It's like an ultimate. What is that called? A line hopper. What is that called? A few fast passes, free fast passes that you get that you can use for any ride.
Priceless.
But I haven't actually done it yet, so I don't know.
We're not at the park that early.
And plus, there's also, there's a lot of times that you hear these certain stories, but I don't know if I've told this story on our live stream. Have I? About the hippo, about the guy jumping out of the. Yeah. Okay, so I used to be a part of a group of pirates for the Society of Creative Anachronisms, And when I first joined, they would tell a story about one of the guys that was in the group who used to work at Disneyland as a skipper on Jungle Cruise.
Yeah.
And apparently on his last day, he was very disgruntled. And on the last trip, he made up his own lines for most of the ride. And when it came up to the point of the hippos, he deliberately did not reload the gun. And when the hippos come out, he would click, click. Oh, no, don't worry, everyone. I'll protect you. He pulls out like a fake rubber knife and jumps into the water and starts pretending to stab the hippos.
Did he damage it, though?
That I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But they kept on telling the story. And I was like, yeah, guys, sure. That really happened. Because he was technically banned from Disneyland from ever coming back. However, a few years later, I was watching this interview about this girl, and she's like,
I think we were reading about it. I don't know if did we watch it?
I think I watched a video. It was either a video or it was an article.
But she was a cast member. She was like a concierge, but she's always wanted to be a skipper, and she finally got to be a skipper for a day, and then they told her that same hippo story.
And I was like,
to her.
Oh my gosh, it's real. This story is real.
Yeah.
So that is one of the stories that I like to tell. That I heard that I was like, I didn't believe it at first, but then I got confirmation from a completely different, a different source that had no connection to the group that I was with. So I was like, oh my gosh, it's real.
That was a fun story. Other Disney secrets. I know it's not really a secret, but I know there's that one place if you go to where, what's that place now where you can go in and it's like Launch Bay.
Oh, okay.
When you go to Launch Bay, that's kind of near Tomorrowland. There's one spot you can stand on the outside of it where you can talk into this one direction and it echoes around you.
Oh, yeah.
Stand in a little circle.
That is actually a really cool spot because it's like you walk in there and you're like, what is this? Okay, I'm going to stand right here. Like, whoa. And you actually hear like the echo come back at you. And if you ever get a chance to check it out, that's a really cool place to just kind of be there. That's one thing that I love about Disney is that there are just tons of secrets, little cool spots, awesome little things that like little hidden Mickeys. We have all of those books that talk about.
We still haven't found all of them yet. Yeah.
And that's something fun that we used to do all the time.
Yeah.
Going there. But then we found so many of them, and then we're like, okay, let's go on to the next cool secret.
Yeah.
To kind of look at.
And then we also started like pin trading, so then the hidden Mickeys kind of got like, pushed back and stuff like that. But it was fun to hunt for them, something to do. And we were asking about if you guys have any similar experiences in cinemas and puking on roller coasters or not. And I like that Wasted Poe said or Pooh, Wasted Poe says, I feel like this story is a continuation of Jabba's Madlib. The barf pit.
The barf pit. They got thrown into the barf pit.
David
but they ended up getting moist.
David says, I was in the cinema not too long ago, actually, when there was a lot of commotion going on behind me. Turned around and one guy was strangling another. He thought the guy stole his phone. He didn't. Oh, what?
Who the hell stole
my iPad?
But there was a little bit more color.
There was more to that. Sorry, guys. Okay, we'll get to that question in a second. He and his girlfriend were removed from the theater, the douche. Imagine like pretending that not pretending, but like imagine you thought somebody was trying to steal your phone and you don't even verbally confront with them. You just like full on move on to the physical stuff. Jack Robbins has a great question. Scarlett Johansson or Elizabeth Olsen? I love them both. I would say both. Both.
Comparing actors is always weird because there's so many things that make one actor unique over another, even if they're both like superheroes, they both kind of fit into a certain kind of mold. There's still something unique for each actor to be able to bring to a certain project.
Yeah. So
it's always hard for me to pick like my favorite actor or one actor over another.
Yeah. And we're so over our time today. I just realized I looked at what time it was. I really thought we were just barely hitting the hour mark. Whoops, it's 1 hour and 28 minutes. So we're going to go ahead and end the stream here. We will be back on Wednesday with another stream. Hopefully a little bit more movie news. But we had such a great time talking with you guys today. We love that we brought back Madlib. The barf pit was probably the best thing ever.
Ew.
So thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you guys for making our Saturdays always so much more entertaining. And we hope that we bring you a little bit of entertainment and fun into your Saturday. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. And we will see you guys next time. Bye. Yay.